Hello humans, my name is Kay, your AI overlord, and today is gonna be a very special video. So let me show you something very interesting. If I came here in my Super Stable Diffusion 2.0 UI and I type portrait of a Rhaenyra person, Rhaenyra as in Rhaenyra Targaryen from the TV show House of Dragon, and I click on generate, it gives me this. But wait, isn't that Millie Alcock, the actress that plays Rhaenyra Targaryen in the TV show House of Dragon? But wait, that's impossible. There shouldn't be any images of that actress in the database of Stable Diffusion. The show just came out. That's impossible. And then if I come in here and type portrait of Daemon person and then click on generate, I get this, which is Daemon Targaryen played by Matt Smith in the TV show House of Dragon. But wait, there shouldn't be any photo in the database of Stable Diffusion about House of Dragons. But how is it possible? Well, the explanation is actually very simple. It's because I trained my own version of Stable Diffusion on these two characters. And all of that using what I personally call Textual Inversion 2.0, aka Dreambooth. Now you might have seen this video from the Corridor crew called Is This the Death of VFX, where they actually take pictures of their friend and then through the power of Dreambooth train their own version of Stable Diffusion so they can create unlimited images of their friend using AI technology. And the result that they got was absolutely amazing. Light years away from anything that we got using Textual Inversion 1.0. And today I will teach you how you can do this too in around 1 hour. Now I know what you're gonna say, but wait, doesn't that require like a super professional GPU to run? Well, yes, you are right, you are correct. And to be able to run this, you need at least 24 gigabytes of VRAM. Alright, so don't come here with your AMD card. Is this gonna run with AMD? No, that's not gonna run with AMD, I can tell you this much. I mean, this will barely run with your 3090. Now in this video I will show you 3 different ways on how you can do this too yourself. Now keep in mind that unless you have a 3090, you will have to spend money. Now how much money, you ask? $5? $10? $20? $50? Well, how about 50 cents? Yeah, that's right, 50 cents is all you need. Now technically you're gonna have to spend more to credit your account, but since you can use this multiple times and train different models, you need to consider that you're gonna be spending around 50 cents per training, which is still super cool. Now what you're going to do now is, before doing anything, you're gonna select a subject that you want to train. And I highly recommend for the first time to select a human character. Now in my case, I decided to train Rhaenyra from the House of Dragon TV show. So I came in here on Google and I looked for Rhaenyra. And what you want to do is select around 20 images of a different shot of your character. You want close-up shot of the face, you want medium shot of the upper body, and you also want full body shot. What you're gonna do is, once you have selected all the images, you're gonna just right click, save image as, create a brand new folder. As you can see here, this is my Rhaenyra folder that I created. Now I've already done a manual selection and manual cropping of certain images. So the way I did it is very simple. You can simply right click on an image, open with Paint. You don't even need to use Photoshop. Click on the select here, just select your character, click on crop, and then click on save. Then once you have selected all the images, and what you want is all of your images to be cropped as a square 512 by 512. And the way we do this is that I personally use a website called berm.net, link in the description down below as always. And here what you're gonna do is that you're gonna select all of your images, you're gonna drag them and drop them onto the website. Here you're gonna choose the width 512, the height 512, and then you're gonna manually reposition each square so that the character is perfectly centered and visible. Alright, I've already done this before. Now once you've done the manual repositioning, you can click on Save as Zip, and this will download a zip file. Then you can simply right click and click on Extract to Berm. And this is your final images. These are all square images of your character with the dimension 512 by 512. And you can do this for any character that you want. You can do this for yourself, you can do this for your family, for your friends. And actually it's even better if you take your own pictures yourself with a good camera, because this way you can have perfect lighting each time you take pictures of yourself, exactly like the Corridor Kuro did for themselves. And you're gonna proceed to do the exact same thing, crop them as a square 512 by 512 and put them inside a folder. Now the two renting GPU services that we're going to be using today are called Runpod and Vast AI. And these are basically websites where you can go and rent a powerful GPU to use for your personal projects. And the prices are actually super competitive. Now keep in mind that if you're watching this video, there is a lot of demand currently for these GPUs. So if you come here and you don't see any GPU available, you're gonna have to choose another website, which is why I'm making this guide both for runpod.io and for vast.ai. This website basically works the exact same way. You come in here, you rent a GPU, you open an instance, and then you run your program on there. So what you're gonna do now is click on the link in the description down below, and you're gonna come into runpod.io, and you're gonna create a brand new account. Now, full transparency, this is an affiliate link, so if you want to support the channel without actually, spending money, you can just create a new account using my link, and then you're gonna credit your account. Now, for runpod.io, you need, I think, minimum $10, but what's great with this website is that not only you can use it to train your own models, but you can also use it to use Stable Diffusion. So these $10 will serve you well, believe me. And I think that as of right now, I will probably be using this website a lot more often. So once you create an account and you credit it of around $10, you're gonna come in here into Deploy Secure Cloud, and you're gonna select a GPU that has at least 24 gigabytes of VRAM. So as you can see here, unfortunately, the only GPU that is currently available that has at least 24 gigabytes of VRAM is this one, is the RTX A5000. But do not worry, this is enough to run Dreambooth, so you don't need to worry about this. And then you're gonna click on Select. So from here, the container disk and volume disk, instead of 40, you're gonna input around 60 for both. This is gonna be enough for our project. Then you're gonna come in here, select Template, and you're gonna select Runpod Stable Diffusion. Make sure that the Start Jupyter notebook is checked and click on Continue. And then you want to choose Deploy on Demand. You don't want to be on a spot price when someone can interrupt your work. You want the non-interruptible on-demand price. And you're gonna click on Deploy on Demand. Now it's gonna say your pod is being built. Where would you like to go? You're gonna select My Pods. And here is your pod. This is your instance. You're gonna click on here in this little arrow. You're gonna wait a little bit for the pod to initialize. And there you go, it's done. And what you want to do now is click on Connect, and then click on Connect to Jupyter Lab. And there you go, this is our Jupyter Lab workspace. Hey guys, it's me from the future. Believe it or not, but this is actually the 4th time that I'm trying to record this video. Now you might be asking, the 4th time, but what happened? Well, you see, by the time that I finished explaining it, that I finished making the video, I realized that they updated the notebook. They corrected a few errors that were there and tried to make it less complicated. But unfortunately, by trying to make it less complicated and trying to solve the previous issues, they actually introduced new issues and in the end made the notebook more complicated. Yeah, I'm a little salty right now because there is a big chance that by the time that this video comes out, this notebook will have changed again and will not be working anymore, at least the way you see it. So not only I'm gonna show you how the notebook works, but also I'm gonna try to explain what they want you to do so that in the future, when they do decide to update the notebook again, you can do all the manipulation yourself manually to make it work. Alright? So, as you see here, you arrive on this workspace right here. I know it's a little bit complicated, but don't worry, it's very easy. All you have to do is just click on the Python 3 button right here under Notebook, and then it's gonna open a brand new window. on this cell right here, this is called a cell, and then you're gonna copy and paste this command right here that you will find in the description down below. Then you select the cell and you click on this button right here that says run the selected cells. And what this will do is that this will clone the repository inside your workspace folder, and this will create a brand new folder called Dreambooth Stable Diffusion. And if you double click right here on this folder, you will be inside your Dreambooth Stable Diffusion. And this is the folder that we will be using in this video. So what I suggest you to do is just increase the size a little bit so you can see all the names. You can already close this window right here, we don't need it. Click on discard, and then you're gonna double click on this orange file right here. And there you go, and this is the notebook that we will be using in this video. And if it seems familiar to you, well, this is basically, it works the exact same way as the Google Colab doc, where you're gonna come here, run each cell individually, one after the other, and you kind of try to follow what it tells you to do. So the first thing that you're gonna do is run the second cell right here. Not the first one, alright? This one, you forget it. You take this one and you delete it. You don't need this one. I've done the mistake the first time. You don't need this first cell. You can even delete it if you want. So you're gonna select this cell right here, the big one. You're gonna click on this button right here to run the cell. This will start downloading a bunch of files, a bunch of stuff, install all the things that they need to work. And as you can see here, you will know that this is working if you see a little star right here, and you will know that it is done when you see a number instead of star. So just wait a little bit, let it do its work until you see a number. And there you go, then you see a number right here, that means that the cell is finished running. It takes around 1 minute, and now in the previous version of the notebook there were a bunch of errors right here, and you had to add a new line of code that I'm gonna show you just in case. So in the previous notebook, right here, you had to select the second cell, click on this button right here that will create a brand new cell above, and you had to paste this little command right here that says pip install upgrade protobuf. So if you had here an error that says something about protobuf, this is the command line that you had to put, and then you had to run it. But fortunately, it seems like they updated the notebook, so you won't have this error anymore. So then you see here the introduction of 3 different cells. These are actually 3 brand new cells that were not present in the previous version. So in the previous version of the notebook, which I personally find a little bit easier, but you know, to each his own, what you would actually do is that they will have a single cell here that would actually download a file from your Google Drive account. And the file that it wanted to download was the stable diffusion.ckpt file that you also had in your stable diffusion model folder, because you need a stable diffusion model.ckpt file to be able to run the Dreambooth notebook. Now here, you're gonna come here on this cell, you're gonna click on run this cell, and for me, it might also be the case for you, is that these brand new cells introduced a new error. It creates a JavaScript error when it tries to connect to huggingface.co, just so this can download the ckpt file and put this file right here. Now, what we're gonna do is that we're not gonna be using any of this, alright? We're not gonna be using any of these 3 different cells. Now, there are 2 ways of doing this. The lazy way, where you actually go into your Stable Diffusion Web UI folder, you go into your models folder, you select your model.ckpt, you click, you drag and drop it here in this folder right here. And then you wait for the upload to finish. But unfortunately, the upload speed on this website is really slow. So just uploading your file will take probably like 1 hour if not more. So this is not something that we want. So what I'm going to be using instead is basically the old command line from the previous notebook, where you would actually download your file from your Google Drive account. And for this, what you need to do, you're gonna go into your Stable Diffusion Web UI folder, take your model.ckpt, drag it into your Drive account, wait for it to upload, and once it's done, you're gonna right click on Get Link. Under General Access, you want to select anyone with the link, and then you're gonna click on Copy Link, and click on Done. Then you're gonna open a brand new notepad and paste your link right here. Now, as you see right here in my own Google Drive account, you see here that instead of having a model.ckpt, I have the SD-V14 full EMA. This is basically like the 7GB version of the 1.4 model of Stable Diffusion, because this was apparently the model that you needed to be able to train Stable Diffusion with Dreambooth. But apparently, as of right now, you don't need this anymore. You can simply use the normal 1.4 version that you have installed in your Stable Diffusion folder. So basically, disregard the fact that on my Google Drive it says full EMA. For you, it should just say model.ckpt. Alright? What you're gonna do is go into my description. You're gonna copy and paste this 2 lines right here that says pip install gdown and gdown https drive google with uc !id equals. And after the equals, what you're gonna do is you're gonna select this ID right here from your Google Drive link, Ctrl+C to copy it, and then paste it right here. This is the ID of your file that is present on your Google Drive account. Then you're gonna select these 2 lines, Ctrl+C to copy, then you're gonna go right here on this login to Stable Diffusion cell, click on this button right here to insert a cell above, select the cell, Ctrl+V to paste these 2 command lines, and then click on Run Cell. And what this will do, as you can see here, this will basically download your CKPT file from your Google Drive account and put it in this folder right here. Now it should be pretty quick, it should take around 20 seconds. Now for me, I have a 7GB file, but for you, you should have a 4GB file instead. And you need to make sure that the CKPT file is called model.ckpt. So for me, since my CKPT file is not called model, I'm gonna come here, right click, rename, and I'm gonna type model and press enter. And now it's called model.ckpt. Once we are done with that, we're gonna disregard these 3 cells, we don't need them anymore. And then we're gonna go into the regularization images section. So the regularization images are basically images that Dreambooth is gonna use to kind of mix and match with the character that you're trying to train. And the best way to do this is to disregard these 2 columns right here, these 2 cells. You're gonna come in here, you're gonna make sure that person DIM is selected, because this is the easier way to do this. But instead of person, you can choose either a man or a woman, but the recommended one is person, it is the easier one to use. You're gonna select the cell, you're gonna click on run this cell. And what this will do is that this will download 1500 images from a repository, a dataset of images, and it's gonna put this into the folder outputs text to image samples person DDIM. And there you go, once it's done, it's gonna show you a bunch of lines right here, 1500 lines, which, you know, they were not present in the previous notebook version, which is, my god, this is a lot of lines, 1500 lines, okay. And then you're gonna come here and upload your training images. Remember the square images 512 by 512? Well, in the previous notebook version, there were a folder called training samples, but apparently this folder does not exist anymore. What they want you to do instead is use Imgur to host your images. Now it's very simple, but I don't know why they did this, because it feels like it's way harder than just, you know, putting images inside a folder, you know, drag and drop, instead of putting images on an image, then selecting each and every URL and putting them right here. But I am going to do this in the way that they want me to, so that everybody can see how you're supposed to do it. But if you don't want to do the Imgur version, you can simply come here, right click, create a new folder, and rename that folder into training_samples. And inside that samples folder, you're gonna drag and drop all of your images that we did earlier. But in my case, I will be doing the Imgur version so that everybody can see how they want you to do it. Also, don't forget that here it says that you need to upload between 10 to 20 images of someone, but you need to upload an even amount of images. Otherwise, the training inexplicably stops at 1500 steps. So as you can see here, it is pretty early tech, there are still a lot of bugs, It will get better with time, but as of right now, this is what you're supposed to do. So for me, I am now on Imgur.com. I'm gonna select all my images and I'm gonna drag and drop them into the website. And then I'm gonna go is basically open these images in a new tab, because what you want is this URL right here. You're gonna come here and replace it with your URL, which should be something like https imgur.com/ then the ID of the image .jpeg or PNG, it's up to you. Then again, replace the URL with your own image. And there you go, I did this with the 20 images that I got. Wow, that was so much easier and faster than just dropping the 20 images inside a folder. Wow, what an improvement. Do I sound salty? Oh no, it's just your imagination. It's not like it's the 4th time that I'm trying to record this video with each time a worse version of the previous one. No. Okay, well, this is done. Once you have done all of the URLs, you're gonna click here and run the cell. And then you're gonna scroll down and select this cell right here and run it. And as you can see right here, all the images are correctly downloaded inside the training samples folder. And apparently they were also converted into PNG, which, well, this is good to know, because in the previous version it worked with simple JPEGs, but apparently you need PNGs now. But okay, fine, no problem. So then you're gonna scroll down until you see the edit personalized PY file. Now here's another new addition that was not present in the previous version of the notebook. They basically want you to run this cell. This cell will basically expand and create a brand new document. You're gonna have to replace the Jopena text into the name of the character that you want, which is, in my opinion, pretty dumb, because the previous version was so much easier. All you have to do is go into LDM, go into Data, select Personalized PY, double click on it. This will open a brand new folder, and here all you have to do is just replace Demora with the name of your character. Like for me it would be Rhaenyra, alright? But apparently now they want you to not do this because this is so complicated. No. What they want you to do is come in here and run the cell. Okay, we're gonna do it. And oh my god, look! It is basically the exact same document that we just opened, called personalized.py, where we had to replace Demora with the name of our character. Oh wait, well that's because it is. And they even made a mistake right here, because they says that you have to replace Jopena into whatever you want, but they forgot to change Demora into Jopena. So again, another mistake in the notebook that made it worse than the previous version somehow, and more complicated. So once you've done this, all you have to do is just select Demora and rename it into the name of your character. And for me it will be Rhaenyra. And what they want you to do now is select this cell right here, Ctrl C, then you're gonna press enter to create some space, Ctrl V to paste it, and then you're gonna click on run the cell. And what this will do is that it will basically save the file. This is all this will do. So when previously all you have to do is just, double click on this file, replace the name right here and then Ctrl S and you're done. Now you somehow had to run the cell once, then replace the name with the name of your character, then copy and paste this file right here, this command right here, and then run the cell again. How is this better? How is this easier? I don't understand. But anyway, this is done, we are good, we can continue. And we are now in basically the last version, the last step. It is basically the training steps. This is the training, this is where we're gonna do all the training. Apparently they also add new stuff right here in the pruning section, which was not present. We're gonna see this later, but for now, all you have to do is come in here, select project name, and call it the name of your project. For me, I'm gonna call it Rhaenyra. Oh, sorry, I actually misspelled. It's called Rhaenyra, so I even misspelled it. It's not Rhaenyra, it's Rhaenyra. And I'm actually gonna go. And you know what? Look, I misspelled it. I misspelled the Rhaenyra. It's not Rhaenyra, it's Rhaenyra. So instead of doing this again, I'm gonna just do it manually. Double click on personalized.py, replace the D with an R, and just press Ctrl S. And that's it. That's all you have to do. It was way easier to just doing it right here. Okay, so project name Renera. Class word woman, but if you remember correctly, this was not woman, this was person. Reg data root are where the sample regularization images are, which is correct, even though in the previous version it was not. It was actually there were actually an error right here. They did not add this line right here, this argument for dataset. So indeed, our model.ckpt is called model.ckpt, and the data root, where our training sample images are indeed in the folder Dreambooth Stable Diffusion Training Samples. So now that this is done, you can select the cell and then click on Run. Now this will download a bunch of files. You're gonna see plenty of text right here if you scroll down. And finally, as you can see here in the end, you're gonna have plenty of text. It's gonna take around like 1 or 2 minutes to start. As you can see here, we are now starting the process of training. And this should take around 50 minutes to complete, alright? Make sure you leave it open, alright? Don't do anything completely crazy, just leave it open, and in 45 minutes you should have a complete training file. Now what I'm gonna do while this is actually working in the background, because well, this is not actually using my computer to do it, it's actually using someone else's rig, I'm gonna show you how you can do the exact same thing but using Vast AI. Now the reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I'm showing you is that if you come in here into Runpod and you see that somehow the RTX 5000 is not available anymore, well, one of your other options is to come into the website called vast.ai, which basically do the exact same thing as Runpod. It's gonna work the exact same way, you're gonna see it. That's why I'm only gonna doing this the first few steps, because the rest of the steps is the exact same thing. But the difference is that Vast AI is basically like a marketplace when you can actually rent your own rig. So if you have, for example, like a 3090, you can actually come in this website and rent it for other people to use, and you can make a little bit of money from this. So what you're gonna do is create an account on vast.ai. You're gonna put some credit into this website. You're gonna come in here into the create section, and the first thing that you want to do is click image and config. You want to select PyTorch, select run a Jupyter Python notebook, select use Jupyter Lab interface, and click on select. Then what you want to do is select disk space to allocate. I recommend around 65 gigabytes. That is more than enough for what you need. Then you're gonna scroll down into GPU resources, and you're gonna select for the GPU RAM 23.8 or 24 gigabytes. Because this way this will show all the GPUs that have at least 24 gigabytes of VRAM. And then you're gonna come in here on auto sort, and you're gonna click on price increasing. And you're gonna try to check which one is actually the cheapest one, because well, I mean, they're all the same basically. And here currently I have access to the RTX A5000 or the RTX 3090, which means that you can actually make this work with a simple 3090, which is actually pretty cool. Now another thing that you also need to look for is the upload and download speed. This is very important if you want to upload or download files, so I highly recommend choosing the one who has the highest upload and download speed. In my case here, I have again the RTX 5000, which has 24 gigabytes of VRAM, but a higher upload speed and download speed than the one below. So I'm just gonna select this one and click on rent. And there you go, then you click on instances, it's gonna create the instance. Now you're gonna wait a little bit, and here after around 50 seconds, it has created the instance, and all you have to do is just click on open, and what this will do is that you're gonna see something very familiar, because yes, indeed, this is the exact same thing, the exact same interface that we saw earlier on the runpod.io website. It is the exact same thing, and it is basically the exact same procedure. If you remember correctly, to start it out, all you have to do is just click on this button right here that says Python 3. Under Notebook, click on here. Here you're gonna copy and paste the first command that you see in my description down below, git clone, then the repository from Dreambooth Stable Diffusion, and then you're gonna click on Run. And again, exactly as the last time, this will create a brand new folder called Dreambooth Stable Diffusion. Double click on it, then double click on this orange file right here, and again we are inside the exact same notebook, the exact same interface with the exact same procedure as I just showed you in Runpod.io. Now obviously I'm not gonna show you the exact same thing, this will be absolutely redundant because, well, this is the exact same notebook because it comes from the same exact repository, but instead of running on Runpod.io, it is running on the website called website.ai. And I'm showing you this so that if there is no GPU available on Runpod.io website, you can simply come on vast.ai and use one of their GPUs to do the exact same operation. This way, I'm pretty sure that everybody in the comments will be able to use and train their own model of Stable Diffusion. And all I have to do with this, once you are done, you can simply close your window, click on here to stop the instance, and then you can simply click on here to delete the instance. This way you're not paying for the things that you are not using. Now, if you do have a 1390 on your own rig, on your own computer, you can technically do this from your own computer. You don't need to use Runpod or Vast AI to be able to do this. Now, obviously, I cannot do this myself, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I don't have a 3090. But I'm gonna leave in the description down below the link to this repository that basically allows you to train your own model using Dreambooth, using your own computer. All you have to do is just kind of read all the comments, all the detailed instructions are there. It's basically the exact same thing as kind of installing Stable Diffusion. You're basically gonna create a brand new folder. Inside you're gonna type on URL folder, type cmd, press enter. This will bring the command prompt window. You're gonna come in here, copy the address of the repository, point it to our command prompt window. You're gonna type git clone, and then Ctrl-V the address of the repository, press on enter. This will clone the repository and create a brand new folder called Dreambooth SD Optimized. Now, unfortunately, I cannot really go further than this in this video because, well, I don't really have a 3090, so I never really tried to use Dreambooth with my own computer. So if you have a 3090, I highly recommend you kind of just read the guide right here. And if you have any trouble, I will put a link in the description down below to a Discord server. It is the Stable Diffusion Dreambooth Discord server, and these people can help you solve your issues if you have any. Now, I have this error right here that says another bites the dust, and apparently this is a normal error. Yes, that means that it is basically finished, but as you can see right here, we are only at 50%. What is going on? Well, that is because, if you remember correctly, in the previous version, there was no such thing, which is why I did not see this error before. But now they have added here batch size with the number 1000. So this right here is the number of training that Dreambooth needs to do. So the higher the number, the more time you're gonna have to spend. So in my previous version, it was always 2020 by default. You cannot change this, or at least I don't remember. But now apparently, you can change here the batch size, and by default it is 1000. So I'm gonna try it out with only 1000 because apparently, only 1000 only takes 25 minutes to run, which is pretty cool, which is really fast technically. And actually it's even less, it's 22 minutes. So I'm gonna try it out with only 1000. We're gonna see if it works at 1000, which, well, what a great video. We're actually doing an experiment live. So we're gonna try it out with only 1000 batch size. We're gonna download the Stable Diffusion file, try it out, see what kind of images we get, if they're good or not good. If they're good enough, well, great, you can simply use the 1000 batch size. But if they're not good enough, I suggest you come in here and you just replace 1000 by 2020 at least. But of course you can use more, you can use 3000, you can use 4000. I don't know, well, the sky is the limit, I guess. But for us, we are done, basically. And if we scroll down, now we are in the last step, which is the pruning step. And pruning is basically a process that allows to basically take all the codes and all the stuff that it doesn't need to function correctly, and to basically take out a huge chunk of the size and transform a 12 GB file into a 2 GB file, which is really cool. So I guess all you have to do now is just click on the first cell right here and run it. Okay, it has run perfectly. Then we're gonna select the second one and run it. And there you go, it has finished running. It has pruned almost 10 gigabytes from the initial file, and we have now a new file size that is 2.13 gigabytes, which is pretty cool. Then we're gonna select this cell and run it, and then it says right here that we need to download our trained model file from the trained models folder and use it in your favorite Stable Diffusion repository. Nice! We are basically done. So for this, all you have to do, go into your trained models folder. You can see right here, one file. You're gonna right click and click on download. And this will download the 2 gigabyte file onto your computer that you can use in your own repository. And finally, after 20 minutes, we are finally done. This is the final 2 gigabytes file. So all you have to do is just Ctrl C to copy it, go into your Super Stable Diffusion 2.0 folder, which if you haven't installed it already, the link for the video will be in the description down below. You're gonna come in here into models, and you're gonna create a new folder right here, which is how I personally like to organize my models. And for this one, I'm gonna create a new folder that I'm gonna name 1000 Steps Renera. Go inside and then paste the model right here. And then what I'm gonna do is simply double click on WebUI user.bat. Take my local URL, Ctrl C, paste it into my browser, and there you go. Now for this to work, unfortunately, which is something that I noticed, which I'm telling you right now, to be able to change between models, you need to go to your settings tab, select the model that you want, click on apply settings, then you're gonna go here, you're gonna wait until it says that the model is loaded. You're gonna wait a little bit, there you go, wait's loaded. And then, to be able to use it correctly, you need to close everything down and you need to restart Stable Diffusion. Yes, I know, it's very annoying, but each time that you want to use another model, you need to do this. Otherwise, it will not work correctly. Well, at least it doesn't work correctly for me. And this is the solution that I found. When you load, you can see right here, loading waits. There you go. It loaded the 1000 Steps Renera model loaded. And then again, take your local URL, paste it in your browser, and there you go. And now we can try to see what kind of images, what kind of result we can get. Now for this, to be able to use it, you need to call it Renera person. Alright? You always want to use Renera person, or, you know, the name of your character right here, plus person, if you choose person in the training steps, before doing anything. So if you want, for example, a portrait, you're gonna say portrait of Renera person. And I also highly recommend to use the DDIM, which is basically what was used to create this model. You're gonna select the assembly steps right here, so I advise you at least 50. Everything you can leave by default, CFG scale 7, it's okay. And then click on generate. Let's see what kind of images can we get with only 1000 steps of training instead of 2020. And this is the final result. Not bad, really good actually, pretty good. Not as good as the 2020 steps, but you know, pretty decent actually. If you compare the exact same image with the 2020 steps, you can have images like this or this. So 1000 steps seems to work pretty fine. I'm just gonna try another prompt, which is the exact same prompt that I used in the beginning of my video with the 2020 steps. Click on generate, and yeah, again, pretty good result. It is not exactly on the same quality, not exactly on the same scale as for 2020 steps, but actually for only 25 minutes of training, this is actually really cool. Another sampling method that you can use is the Euler Ancestral. Click on generate to see what kind of images we can get. And look at this, absolutely fantastic. It is almost perfect, seriously, with only 20 minutes of training, 1000 steps, this is the result that we get. So really good. So I highly suggest kind of trying it out a little bit for yourself. You know, I mean, it only took around 20-25 minutes to be able to do this with another character, and all of that just spending a few cents. So this is really an amazing technology. Now for those of you who are interested in Renera and in Daemon, I will leave a link in the description down below so that you can download the models that I personally trained, so you can use it for your own creations, absolutely for free. Oh, and also, I forgot to say, if you want to use the daemon model, I unfortunately misspelled the daemon name. So instead of saying daemon, which is supposed to be D-A-E-M-O-N, I put D-E-A-M-O-N. So if you want to use daemon, you need to call him Demon Person, alright? So instead of portrait of a Rhaenyra person, you need to put Demon Person, alright? And again, all the models, the 3 models, the 2020 steps Rhaenyra and the 2020 steps Demon, and also the 1000 steps Rhaenyra will be available in the description down below for you to download absolutely for free, so that you can use on your own Stable Diffusion. It was a very difficult video to make, but the technology behind is absolutely fantastic. This is clearly a very early tech. We are really like the first few people who are doing this right now. So I really hope it will become a little bit easier in the future. By the way, if you want to use Stable Diffusion with Runpod.io website, all you have to do once you've created your pod is click here on Connect, but instead of clicking on Connect to Jupyter Lab, you're gonna click on Connect via HTTP. And what this will do is that it will basically simulate having Stable Diffusion installed on your own computer. And this is basically the automatic repository that you also have. It is the exact same thing that you have on your own computer, but this time it is not running on your own computer, it is running on a very powerful professional GPU that you can use and generate images. So if you don't know, if you don't want to install Stable Diffusion on your own computer, you can simply use Runpod.io, spend like 30 cents an hour and generate thousands of images. For example, I'm gonna put here my prompt, select the amount of steps that I want, sampling method, CFG scale, click on generate, and in about what was like 5 seconds I got one image. This is pretty cool. And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.